I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly that next morning. No grogginess, no aches. Perfectly energized and bright-eyed.
Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep?
I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm.
Well, hey, I must be lucky today.
That's where you're wrong, Laundry. Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserved to get some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and get dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text.
Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time. 6:30.
Perfect! I can eat some breakfast before they come.
Do you not do your hair or your makeup?
And it said she woke up 10 minutes before her alarm, so she would have gotten up at 6:40 and then had to be out the door at 7.
She woke up like this. I packed my bag and carried it downstairs towards the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon sitting on the table. A fresh, steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with the sugar and creamer on the side. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Who made this? I wonder.
I want bacon now. As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention.
Have a good day. Yours.
My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him? I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating up. The food was so delicious I devoured every amazing bite. I looked at the time again. Time to go! I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand.
Huh?
I turned to see Erik, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't Erik, miss. I want you to know my real name, if something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? Erik gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Osiris.
Osiris, okay.
As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head made sure I would never forget it. Erik pulled away and smiled at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
I stared up at Erik, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Erik smiled before kissing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu, the Italian, waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework and the coming day. Did I even do homework? We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward.
What? Ow!
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
The three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had a look of complete innocence while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little... Suzu, don't!
Suzu, do! I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lisette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. Walk away? Wait a minute.
Phew!
Didn't we have 3 options before?
Well, because we didn't go to the study and look at the magic stuff.
Oh, that's right. It was just walk away.
Just walk away.
Just walk away.
No!
I wasn't going to bring myself to her level. She was a bully, but I was not going to let her get to me. I had to be stronger than her, and only then would I have beaten her, by taking the high road. I stood up and brushed myself off, pretending nothing had happened.
Naomi's belt has a little bow on it. That's so cute.
Stop being cute.
Anderson, you okay?
That was a pretty bad fall. Yeah, I'm fine. A fall like that is nothing.
Suck a dick, Lisette! I merely smiled at them, not wanting them to know the pain rushing through my body from that fall. My arms were quaking, my shoulders were pulsing, but I remained content-faced. I quickly gathered up my belongings and nodded to my two friends.
Come on, we'll be late for history.
Suzu and Naomi looked at each other before frowning and nodding to me. Naomi and Suzu flanked me as we began to walk to class, away from the gaggle of bullies. As we walked, I could barely see Suzu flipping the middle finger to the group behind us from the corner of my eye.
Friggin' bunch of Lisette feet lickers.
That's gross, Suzu.
It's true. It's all OMG! Lisette is the best! Let's follow her around because we obviously don't have lives.
Naomi and I could not help but laugh. The group behind us, however, did not like Suzu's words.
At least my dad doesn't screw around in the black market to keep a stupid casino running.
Whoa!
Oh.
Whoa, rude girl. Shots fired, rude girl. Suzu stopped. Naomi and I stopped as well to look back at Suzu, who was completely red in anger. Suzu slowly turned to head to the group, glaring daggers at them.
The fuck did you just say?
Oh! Hold my flower laundry! Go get him, baby. I had to act fast. I placed my hand on Suzu's shoulder and gripped it tightly, knowing she could try to push my hand away.
Suzu, they're not worth it. Let's go.
No, I think it's about time we taught them some manners.
Suzu.
I looked at Lisette and her group. Lisette had a wildly amused smile on her face with irked mean to no end. Nevertheless, I knew that fighting wasn't going to get us anywhere.
Let's go.
I grabbed Suzu by the shoulder roughly, pulling her back to Naomi and me. Suzu tried to step towards the group, but Naomi held on to her other shoulder. We held on to Suzu, who fought against our hands as we marched to class. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket.
Huh? A text? From Dad?
I'll be picking you up today, like my carton of eggs. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. Egg! Money.
The sad money at the end. That's kind of a surprise.
Sometimes you just gotta hit yourself when you're laughing. You gotta slap that oldie. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
It really doesn't.
We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Yeah, all right.
Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I waved goodbye to Naomi and Suzu before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited.
I need to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert.
Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. I really hope that was an extended play, because that's like an hour otherwise.
What the hey? Dad's never late. Especially not this late.
I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read a signal disconnection error message.
What the? No signal error? How do I not have a signal?
I double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for signal.
He must be in a dead zone.
Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed into the hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary, feeling their hands on me. I needed to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up Malix's prey!
The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear like many people seem to like doing.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere and was shoved into something that echoed the interior of a bus or a van. The doors closed and off I was taken, unsure of where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. All I saw was darkness. I felt numb as I was taken to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even move my lips to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears. First the interior of a car, then the outside, then an echoey space with whispers and cackles of people vibrating through it. However, the wrap around my eyes was eventually removed from my face, and my bonds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse, surrounded by devils, including Malix, who was smirking at me.
Nicely done! I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion. They'll search everywhere for you. It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead.
So funny!
It's my kind of humor. Ooh, Xeris, whatever your name is. What, are we gonna wait this time?
I want to see what happens.
Okay. I could see Malix pull the trigger before bracing myself.
Oh, what the fuck?
I opened my eyes again to see Malix jamming his finger against the trigger, trying to shoot me to no avail.
Well, she either has the barrier spell on her, or you're losing your power.
Oh.
Shut up! I'm not losing shit! This little brat must have that spell on her!
I felt a wave of relief run through my body. The other devils laughed at Malix, which made him angrier.
I said, shut up!
Ow. Malix suddenly moved his gun towards a nearby devil and pulled the trigger. I stared wide-eyed as the bullet from Malix's gun rammed itself into the neck of the devil boy. The wound spouted fire and blood, causing the devil to scream and flail in extreme pain before falling limp to the ground. As the body hit the floor, it almost began to deform and melt. Blood and black ash poured out of the wound in every opening that body had, causing the smell of death to quickly fill the room. I felt like gagging as the body eventually stopped moving.
Wow, that wasn't traumatizing at all. Oh god!
Nice. The body became like a deflated balloon, showing me the true nature of Malix's gun. It was now just a pile of blood and skin. The bullet had burnt up the muscles, bones, and any structure the body had to give its form. That could have been me! That could have been me!
That could have been me!
It's gonna be me.
Anyone else wanna laugh at me? Huh?
Yes, we all want to laugh at you, always.
Ha, 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 ha. The devils around us shut their mouths, obeying the warning of the obvious master of the space. Malix growled before glaring at me.
As I was saying, it must be some holy magic or some shit like that. Eris?
What? What? The girl who had kidnapped me stepped up beside Malix.
Oh, he's getting energy.
Oh, damn it. We're doomed. The girl who had kidnapped me stepped up beside Malix. Malix wrapped a strong arm around her waist and pulled her tight against his side before burying his face against her neck. Eris didn't react, but continued to stare at me as Malix ravished her shoulder and neck in violent kisses. That's pretty badass, Eris. Eventually, Malix pulled away, licking his lips before looking to Eris' face.
Be a dear and get rid of her barrier. Now.
Well, without another word, Eris walked around me and out of my line of sight. As I turned my head to try and follow her, Malix raised his gun to my face once again, forcing me to stop moving.
I may not be able to shoot you yet, brat, but there are other ways I can beat the living shit out of you.
Really? We're gonna wait again?
I want to see.
I didn't say a single word. I knew how to defend myself against anything he had to offer. I was slowly losing my fear of him, and it was oddly satisfying. What? Oh great. All of a sudden, however, I felt air escape me and rush behind me, sucked away from me by a mysterious force. It was like a large vacuum was pulling my soul out from my back.
Oh god.
What was even worse was that I felt stuck in this place while it was happening. I turned my head to see Eris holding a red orb that was absorbing a white stream of air and possibly magic from my body. Eris kept her eyes to my back, but Malix grabbed my face and made me look back at him, smirking.
That barrier around you won't be protecting you much longer. Be patient, little human.
Before Malix pulled away, he slapped his hand against my cheek a couple times. Not enough to force my head to turn, but enough to hurt and leave a powerful sting. I wanted to do something. I needed to. I was going to die if that barrier was removed. You're determined to kill us. I stood there. That's all I could do. I waited for someone to save me instead of calling the name of the guy that I knew. I waited for someone to stop Malix and Eris. Waiting was all I could do. Waiting was all I convinced myself I could do. Eventually, I felt lighter, and the air stopped moving around me. Eris had finished her job. I didn't felt so protected anymore.
I didn't felt so protected.
I felt fear consume me as Malix's smirk grew horrifyingly wide. We better get a CG for
And
this.
that's it for you.
Malix quickly placed the barrel of his gun between my eyes and once again pulled the trigger. I didn't even have a chance to close my eyes. What? And that's it for you!
That's all for now, folks.
So basically this game is like, don't be the damsel in distress. You have the means to get out of this situation.
Osiris!
All of a sudden, a bright purple light engulfed the room, causing the devils around me to cover themselves.
What the?
Gusts of wind rushed past me, almost forcing me back. I covered my face with my arms, bracing myself and standing my ground. I tried to peek through my arms to see what was going on, but the light continued to shine brightly. As the gusts slowly started to die, the light began to fade, revealing Erik.
Erik!
Did you miss me?
However, the seductive smile that graced his lips quickly disappeared as he turned to Malix. As Malix lowered his arms, Erik glared.
You really are evil at its core. Kidnapping an innocent woman like you did? It's disgusting how we demons are confused for your kind.
Look at this little manhole Erik right here, boys. Might as well sleep with a disease.
The devils around them laughed, including Eris. I felt a twinge of anger, but Erik must have taken it from me and added it to his own. Erik flicked his wrist and arm across his body, bruising a small whipping noise through the air. However, Malix hissed and reached for his cheek as if... Are you kidding me? He can air whip people?
What the?
When Malix moved his hand from his cheek, I stared wide-eyed at the... Oh my god. He probably has a thorn whip. He has like a thorn air whip, like, what is his name?
Kurama?
Yes. I'm like...
Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho?
I was trying to... I didn't want to say cool bar because I knew it wasn't cool bar.
No, it's not
It's
cool
not
bar.
cool bar. When Malix removed his hand from his cheek, I stared wide-eyed at the large slash that was revealed on it. A mixture of red and black blood gently dripped from the wound, causing Malix to growl angrily at Erik.
So, pretty boy thinks he has balls, huh? Well, time to make this pretty boy a dead bitch.
All of a sudden, Malix lifted his gun towards Erik and pulled the trigger. I gasped and tensed up, not believing what I was seeing. As I braced myself for Malix's bullet to embed itself into Erik, however, a large, ethereal tendril shot up from in front of Erik's body, sprouting from the ground. Quickly after the bullet evaporated into the tendril, several others appeared, forming a dark purple crown around Erik's body.
Sorry, what?
What the? What is that?
That's what I want to know.
Did you
Oh,
expect
no.
me
Oh
to
my
come
God!
unprepared the
No!
second time around? Thanks to my lovely princess, I can now use the full extent of my powers. Unfortunately for you, that means I'm afraid you will lose this fight.
Tendril, I was
Oh my god.
Oh god, the sound effects! Oh, I can't hear them all. Hold
Erik's a tentacle monster.
on. No! I don't... See? I hate-
Erik's the tentacle monster.
This is why we didn't like him. We knew. We somehow knew. Ah! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Why did she do that?
What just happened?
The cat jumped on to my back and scratched up my back with her back claws. And she looks so happy with herself right now.
You cocky little shit!
Malix charged up his energy and began to fire bullet after bullet at Erik in anger. However, the tendrils danced across Erik's bodies with ease, blocking each one as if they were mere pebbles to a wall. The remaining devils stared, trying to figure out what to do, help Malix or watch in silence. Eris, however, walked up beside me and crossed her arms as she watched with an amused smirk on her face.
Die already!
Erik chuckled before snapping his fingers, causing a row of tendrils to appear behind him, pointing their sharp ends at Malix, who continued to fire bullets at the incubus. He's gonna get impaled. The tendrils uprooted themselves and floated into the air, straightening out to large spikes, before quickly splintering into multiple thinner spikes. I could only stare, completely lost and intrigued at the sight as Erik whipped his hand across his body again. At Erik's command, the spikes flew at Malix, slashing and stabbing into his body. They were thin, barely making pencil-sized wounds, and only a few went into his body. The others scraped and scratched at his skin as they flew by. This didn't kill Malix, however. Malix growled loudly before charging at Erik, causing the incubus to step back in slight shock. Malix pointed his gun at Erik, closing the distance between them, and fired as the barrel almost reached Erik's face. Instead of the bullet ripping into Erik, a large explosion forced both away from each other. Malix bounced off the far wall and landed on his knees, groaning in pain. Erik, however, slid across the ground, landing on his stomach. Erik! Malix slowly planted a foot into the ground to stand, but froze before doing so, staring at Erik's body. Erik, on the other hand, slowly rose and turned to face Malix head-on. Erik reached up a hand and wiped off a small stain of blood that had painted the side of his lip before growling almost animalistically. At that moment, something in the air changed. The air instantly went from frantic to still in energy. What could have been described in tones of the color red quickly turned into a deadly mix of purple and red as everything began to blend together all at once.
How persistent. I guess I'll have to go all out on you to finally rid the world of you.
Was this the extent of his demon power?
No.
My eyes never strayed from Erik's face, however. Even as it changed, his eyes began to grow a bright golden color as Erik began to walk towards Malix.
Let's end this.
Malix aimed his gun and fired at Erik, but the bullet never made its target. As the shot erupted from the barrel, the ethereal tendrils erupted from Erik's back, creating a wing-like barrier from the bullet. Malix stared wide-eyed as Erik's tendrils absorbed the bullet and grew almost larger inside the number each step Erik took. Erik's skin slowly began to morph and shift, changing from human to something else entirely. Something about Erik grew dark and menacing, and this transformation was making him even darker. Before I was allowed to see Erik's new form, however, a pair of hands quickly covered my eyes. Instinctively, I reached up and gripped them, trying to pull them off. A voice stopped me.
It's me. Don't look.
I listened carefully and let the two last words linger in my mind. Don't look. Why? What was being hidden from me? I wanted to know, but something told me to obey Damien's command. I could hear everything, however. I listened as Malix stood up with a pained grunt before being pushed against the wall, and another shout. After that came sounds of flesh ripping and blood spurting, followed quickly by Malix's screams. Maybe it was better that I wasn't able to see.
Erik, enough!
Almost instantly after James' command, the sound stopped. The air grew silent as a pair of footsteps slowly made their way to where we were.
I just had to be sure he was dead. No use in letting him have a chance to revive.
You're getting sloppy, Erik. You've lost your glamour spell.
Glamour spell? What did he mean? Why did Erik sound so different? Why was this being hidden from me?
It's a spell that makes us look human.
I froze. Look human? They didn't look like humans after all? What did they look like?
Like demons.
As if Matthew knew what Damien was talking about, Matthew spoke up, followed by the sound of a cork popping out of a bottle.
Well, not for much longer. Here.
There we are. Thank you, Matthew.
I could hear the small clinking of glass being passed before hearing Erik guzzle down a liquid of some sort. The feel of the air around me gently began to warm back up, insinuating that everything had returned to normal. Finally, Damien moved his hands from my eyes, allowing me to see around me once again. The devils, including Eris, had fled. On top of what I assumed to be Malix's body was a dirty sheet that was quickly turning red from blood. I couldn't even tell if it was his body. It seemed lumped together like a pile of parts. The boys, however, had gathered around me, all of them, including Erik, looking like nothing had happened.
What just...
You've been here this whole time. What do you mean, what just? I tried to speak, but everything zipped around in my head at the whole event, and I felt like speaking wasn't possible.
Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here.
I could only nod. What had happened boggled my mind to the point of disbelief. I was second-guessing everything, not unsee of what, and how, and when, and we walked out of the warehouse. I looked at Erik for some form of sign that I wasn't dreaming. Erik smiled softly at me before looking ahead, trying to look like nothing had happened. See, that freaks me out, because both Damien and Sam felt like really ashamed afterwards, and he's just like, I'm fine. I do this all the time. This is great. This is fine.
This is fine.